Mill Media, providing equitable access to STEAM-based experiential learning.
I'm so disappointed in Austin. I've been waiting 2 weeks to show him my teeth, and he still hasn't showed up, even after I told him that I have a surprise for him.
I know. Juniper lost a tooth the other day.
Are those her teeth?
No, they are not. It is so. They're so much different.
They're so crusty.
It's just like this. I mean, she lost a molar, and it's like this big. It's just like tiny little nothing. And those things are like, I don't know, they look like they came out of dinosaurs or something.
Yeah, I can imagine little June's teeth are probably super like unoffensive.
Yeah.
The opposite of these teeth.
Yeah, they definitely did not cause the kind of physiological response that
the gag heard around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like that these teeth have really seen some fiddlesticks.
Fiddlesticks.
I feel okay. I feel like I've dragged this out enough. Austin, you're missing a bag of teeth that have been living in the mill for months.
Yep.
Almost a year, probably a year-ish.
Yeah, and this is part of being a. How did you say it? It's like part of being a scavenger maker.
This is what it means to be a maker.
Sometimes you find stuff.
Teeth. Sometimes you find human teeth
in a bag that had an old DSLR camera in it. Yeah. It was a DSLR camera bag.
Yeah, so what happened was I was living in this house in Philomath, and there was this shed, and in the shed there was this camera bag with an old Nikon D3000, and I am a Canon girl, and so I was like, I don't want this. I don't want this thing. It's blasphemous to have a Nikon. And so I gave it to Forrest because I wasn't going to use it, and I didn't want to sell it. But then there was also this other lens that didn't fit the camera, and I was like, maybe it'll fit my new film camera. And I'm digging through this bag that I didn't really dig through, and there's a secret inside pocket, and inside the inside pocket was like a cheap little plastic bag, and I unrolled it, and it's 3 human molars that are like have seen better days.
Somebody's wisdom teeth or something.
It looks like it. It's like,
oh God, I hate seeing it.
It's so disturbing.
Oh my gosh.
They're the nasty. I think I can smell the teeth through the bag.
Stop it. Oh,
it's either the teeth or me that I'm smelling.
I'm not coming over there to find out.
I don't blame you. It's not a good smell. But what was also in there, just to date how old this camera was a 1 gig memory card.
Mm-hmm. So
and I'm trying to hook it up to my laptop.
When would a 1 gig memory card be?
Like 1998.
No way. SD card? Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're probably right. That'd probably be like, I don't know. I wonder how much a 1 gig memory card cost in 1998. That's probably really expensive.
So I got it by the looks of the pictures on here. I'm going to say early 2000s. This is weird. It's like I'm looking into someone else's life. Cut that. Anyway, I'll explore that later. So halfway through the card, no murder so far, but
good.
Yet undetermined.
They're not a dentist either, though, so who knows?
I would be a little freaked if I was in the dentist and they came out like with a big old camera. Like, do you mind smiling?
Oh my gosh!
I wonder if it's that person's teeth.
I bet.
Probably. Ugh. I'll show you later.
Somebody, but yeah, whoever had that camera had like some in their mind, brilliant idea of like, I just got my wisdom teeth removed.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this idea for an art project.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going
to make a necklace out of these.
Planking was really popular at the time. And this is their
like
version.
holding yourself up?
Yeah, just like having the same thing in different scenarios. Just their wisdom teeth placed in like strategic places that like made you think about, is this wise? Or something like that.
Like on a park bench.
Yeah. Or like right at the edge of the Grand Canyon and this wisdom teeth. And is it a good idea to be right here?
Yeah, you put your wisdom teeth right there, and then the next shot is a seagull flying off with them.
Yeah.
Are there seagulls at the Grand Canyon?
There are gulls just about everywhere. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, either way, the teeth are gross. They might go in my collection of gross things at my desk.
I do feel like that goes in nicely to one of the things that we wanted to talk about today, which is like when we're talking about being a maker, what like we think that means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's like being a maker, you definitely have to be open to the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could find human teeth anywhere.
You could.
Yeah.
And the question is, what are you going to do with those human teeth when you find them?
I'm going to dare someone to swallow them.
Oh, my God.
No, I'll probably just make a necklace.
That's the default. It's like, yeah, at least have you at least considered making a necklace out of this thing that you just found?
Or some earrings. They'd be kind of like, honestly, they'd be pretty lit if I was on Etsy and I saw some molars set in resin that were like a 0 gauge.
Oh, gosh.
Would I get it? I don't know. But if they were gifted to me, I would be stoked.
It's just like it probably is a good sign, a sign that it's a good idea, that it like turns my stomach every time I think about it.
Yeah, they're pretty nauseating.
But yeah, like I was listening to I just discovered actually the Makecast, which is put out by Make Magazine.
Okay.
And it's their podcast, which I don't know how. I've been looking for other makerspace podcasts. That's part of the reason why we were doing this, is like I had a hard time finding podcasts about running makerspaces and that featured makers and such. But now I've found that one. I was like, oh, I don't know why I didn't find this before. I guess one of the things is it's pretty short format, like 20-minute interviews.
What are they talking about?
The one that I listened to was like the challenges of running a community makerspace with Nova Labs, which was in Virginia, maybe.
Okay.
There are 2 Virginias though. I can't remember for sure.
Regular and West.
Oh wait, here we go. I have it right in front of me. Northern Virginia. So I guess regular Virginia in the north.
Okay, cool.
But they have a gigantic makerspace with over 700 members. And it's like mainly just a community makerspace. People, I don't know, paying a monthly membership. Membership dues is their like main, and then workshop dues and stuff for that. Like that is how they're sustainable and generate revenue. It was one of the things that was really fascinating, and this is all an aside, I guess. But one of the things that was fascinating about it was, in their case, he was talking about a difficulty that they have is everybody wants to like support education and K-12 and summer camps and all that, but nobody wants to be around the kids.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I don't think that's our experience at all. Like,
it's kind of the opposite, I feel like, where we're just trying to figure out funding for these great ideas that we have.
Yeah.
Not to like, pat ourselves on the back, but like we have some pretty cool ideas.
And we have like students like educational like programs just constantly happening in our space. That's just kind of what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just an interesting, like, oh, that could be a different issue. I know we've got, I was talking to another member of the STEM Hub who does externships, Danielle, and she was saying that one of the things that they've had with a mentorship program that they're doing for called
Nuestro Futuro.
Yeah, that's right. And their biggest issue has been recruitment of students. Has been a little bit of a difficulty, but they have tons of mentors available, which I was thinking about it and like, man, it's really, I feel like I just feel grateful that that's our problem is like, we have the mentors, we just don't have the students yet. Whereas the other way around, having the students, but not having like people available to support them would just,
I wonder what you would think about, like, because I feel like you have a cult following at this point at the mill with students, and I know it's probably like different age ranges, but I definitely noticed that you have people that are like always in here and interested. What do you think is a good way to like engage young makers or like convince people that like learning is gonna be for the betterment of like their longevity rather than just thinking about their comfort right now?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I noticed with the classes that come in is that, I mean, there are going to be the students who are already interested, and they're usually pretty self-sufficient, and if they're excited about the space, then they're just going to come in and they're going to make themselves present. But there are a lot of students who are just not quite ready to engage fully, like put themselves out there. And I think just constantly lowering the stakes so that them doing the thing is not threatening at all to their ego or to their friend group. Like we had a group of high school students in the other day, and I had the button maker out, and a bunch of people like did drawings and then they weren't going to make their button because it wasn't good enough, or they messed up the face of the character. And I'd be like, show me what you did. And then inevitably it was like, that would be a hilarious button. You need to make that button. And there's no like consequence if like it doesn't work out. Or like the nice thing with something like the button maker is even when somebody like screws it up, you can still like fix pretty much whatever happened. And it's just that one is a good way to, that tool is, we've got button makers from American Button Machines. So they're just really nice cast iron or whatever, everything works really well. And so when somebody has two of the shell piece or 2 Mylar sheets or whatever, when they do it wrong, the button doesn't work, but the machine's not broken. We can talk about what happened and it not be a big deal. And then we can just make the button again. And then they make a button, and I think when they're making that machine has enough of a like, whoa, I can't believe that's all it took, or like, I can't believe that I had this thing that feels so professional afterward. Even if their drawing is like really silly, it always comes out like, oh man, this is cool.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of things are so competitive though. Like even when it comes to making, where like really making should be punk rock. Like we don't give a fiddlestick about like what you think. I have this cool idea and I'm going to do it. But like, I think there's lots of influence between culture and media of like, are you going to get the Maserati for making this pin, or is it good enough for the Maserati, or are you going to be just like anybody else and not seeing like the journey as being valuable?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not like, I think that's right. Seeing the journey as being valuable. I think we've talked about this before too. Like, stuff that's not perfect is always like so interesting.
Like those teeth.
Those teeth are perfect.
They have a great smile.
That's why I'm not interested in them.
So you like the smell, admit it.
But yeah, I think yeah, encouraging students to like see value in things that aren't perfect, and also just do the thing. It's fine if it's not perfect, or like even if you like just kind of half-assed it, like I don't care. Like if you didn't draw, you knew you could do a better drawing and you just didn't. I don't care. Like just make that button and you'll be happy you did. And then and I had this experience with students yesterday where like they did it, they were being kind of silly about it, or not silly about it, but like, you know, they had done a drawing, they didn't take it super serious. And were like laughing with their buddies and, you know, had given up on. It seemed like they were kind of right at the edge of like, I'm just going to start squirreling around for the next hour. And so I'm kind of like, yeah, come make your button. Like, show me what you did. Oh yeah, that looks sweet. Let's do that. That'll be hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think that feels empowering when somebody like takes something that you know isn't good and you know they know isn't like fine art or beautiful craftsmanship or anything like that, and they're still excited about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. My experience is that feels like exciting and fun.
Yeah. It's definitely, I think it like lowers the stakes or like the adrenaline in it, and really kind of is, I think what's part of being a maker is like community, you know, sharing ideas and being vulnerable and learning new things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's also right. I think I was thinking about like my favorite memories of making stuff, and so many times I was making stuff with my friends, and we were not taking it seriously. We were just like, you know, we were making home movies with a, you know, whoever's parent had a camera with a tiny little film cartridge. What are those called? The
little like cassettes.
Yeah,
kinda...
the tiny cassette things.
I don't know if I.
You could
know
never
the
watch
name.
it unless you had the video camera and then plugged the like AV cables into your TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was the most fun. Or doing like collaborative drawings and just having them get progressively more insane.
Yeah, I think of like all the handful of bands I had in middle school and high school and stuff, of just like, let's think of like the zaniest name we can think of, and then we're gonna like just create some noise and you know, we're gonna think we're cool because we are, you know, we're like cool kids, but it wasn't necessarily about like, oh yeah, we're gonna be on tour with Fall Out Boy. It's just like we just need something to do.
Yeah, and it's so much more like, you don't need to try to go on tour with Fall Out Boy, but like making a silly song with your friend. Like, yeah, we had we had a fake band, or a band called Promar, which is just the name of a paint company.
Right on.
And a song called School Time Fun, and we just made sure that everybody, whatever instrument anyone was playing, they didn't know how to play it. And then I think we just chanted School Time Fun for the song.
Nice.
It was good. And like, and I think that actually spurred us on to make a bunch of other stuff, because we just had such a good time.
That's lovely.
So that's kind of what I like I think what I try to facilitate in here is like, just do the thing that you think is funny or cool, or what could I do this, and and let's see what happens.
Totally, yeah. We're using the Mill tonight as a queer maker night space that I've been running with our colleague, I guess is maybe the right word at this point.
Yeah.
Catherine Edmonds over at Highland Woodshop. in Corvallis, and we're just doing these nights with like a project in mind, and it's really just an excuse to like get together and like what is that, like where you play but you're not playing together, you're like separate, parallel play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like an excuse for like parallel play, and then bringing other people in, which is like kind of cool when random people show up. We had like 2 students last time around Halloween time come in, and they just like sat across the room from us and like didn't talk, but they like they painted like a pumpkin, and they made these really cool like GSA pins, and we like had fun, like our 2 little groups had fun parallel playing, and
That's
it was
awesome.
like a really interesting experiments in community building. And so I'm excited to see who shows up tonight. We're like doing like holiday cards and stuff like that.
Oh, fun. Like cutting out paper craft kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think like it's kind of going to be whatever people like want to do. We're just going to set out a bunch of supplies. My personal one is kind of an excuse from getting a really vintage paper cutter at an estate sale this last summer, and I haven't had a reason to use it, but
nice.
Cutting all my own paper, and then it was like I've been practicing with like this little Fujifilm Instamax for like Polaroid photography, and I have all of these frames that like are going to sit in a pile in my studio if I don't do something with them. So it's like an excuse to just kind of like do something with the practice photos that I've done throughout the year.
Awesome.
So each card is going to have a card, then a front panel, and then centered on that front panel will be a little Fujifilm frame.
Nice.
Yeah.
And is that, so we're talking about one of the things that we're doing we did in the mill yesterday. I had students make zines based on like creating a mixtape for the end of the year. We're recording this early December. It's probably come out in January, but just thinking about like end of the year, it's a good time to make a mixtape to reflect on like where you've been and
some like Spotify like roundup vibes or wrap up or whatever it's called.
Yes, Spotify Wrapped thing. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I thought it would be fun. We were talking earlier that it would be fun to kind of give our maker mixtape, and I think we'll maybe even make it into a zine as well.
Yeah, I think we're going to, and we're going to like link a PDF to this description so you can print it out and fold it up and see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, so we're going to do some categories. One of them I think was like a material that
material, a piece of equipment, and then project was the third, right?
Yep. And then a song as well, or?
Yeah, a song. I think we were going to do the project on the inside where you like fold it all out. And I think that's a good one for Forrest and Austin to specifically talk about. Maybe on like another episode where Austin's here, because this is Millin about and Austin's not here. So I mean, it's like
we didn't even introduce. Hi, I'm Forrest.
Hey, I'm Kacey.
And Austin's not here,
unfortunately.
Yep.
But they did this really great summer camp. Forrest and Austin. This really great summer camp with middle school students where they made skateboards from scratch. I think we wanted to put that in the middle, where you unfold the whole zine again, because that was like legit, like one of the dopest summer camp experiences I've witnessed.
Yeah, it was super fun.
And then I think we wanted to talk about like, equipment and material, and then the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that'll be like the regular pages.
Yeah. So, I brought that up. I was seeing a transition there because I think, is your material the Fujifilm you were just talking about?
I think film in general would be my pick of material this year, because not only did I really get into the Fuji instant film, but also into like 35 millimeter, which there's been a new development, like sidebar.
Pun intended. A new development.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it like that. So Harman, this film brand who's been known for making like Ilford, which is like all black and white 35 millimeter film, they just came out with their first full color film stock, and it's called Phoenix 200. And I just picked some up this weekend, but I also dropped my Canon A1 off at the shop because the mirror was sticking. So I might not be able to really actually test out Phoenix 200 for like 2 to 3 months. But I know, it's so long. But it's here, and I think it's like really cool because I think it says something about the resurgence of analog, photography in this age of technology. So
yeah,
very cool.
That's super rad. I think for my material, I was thinking about this, and I'm going to go with PLA 3D printer filament.
Oh, cool. That's the clear one that you can like make the...
No, it's not. This is the boringest one.
Oh.
I do love TPU, and every time I show, I guess my pick could be 3D printer filament. And that's in part, one of the reasons is coming into like my maker journey has not been about 3D printing. When I envisioned myself in a makerspace, it was never like, and I'm going to be doing a lot of 3D printing. Or I guess that was just not like what I was excited about ever really. But to run a makerspace, you need to know what's going on with 3D printing. And so I've done my best to learn as much as I can and continue to learn, and have found that I like it. It's not my favorite thing because the actual making part of it is so much like you're not, I mean, there's plenty that you actually do, but like you don't put the material together
right
in the same way. And so I still kind of gravitate towards things where I do have my hands on that physical process a little bit more, but it's been really interesting to learn more and more about it. And like you say, the every time I show somebody something that I printed out of TPU, which is the Flexi, and I printed out of clear Flexi, and it just people's minds explode when they see that. And one of my favorite things that I've 3D printed is a Jake the dog from Adventure Time out of TPU. Well, actually, I didn't print it. Austin printed that. I had done the model and had printed it for my son in just PLA in the past. But I came back from my summer break, and there's this Flexi Jake the dog, and it's one of my favorite things that we have in here.
That's so cool.
But I have been getting more excited about PLA. I think it's cool that it is a compostable filament, and it makes my life a lot easier talking to people about it, because a lot of people see 3D printing as just like, oh, you're just making more plastic to throw in the garbage.
Right.
Which it's hard to argue about that. Like when you're printing supports and, everybody wants their D&D character, and you're going to print it. If we're printing it here, it's going to come out okay, but it's not going to be like anything you're going to cherish. It's definitely going to, in a lot of cases at least, end up in somebody's garbage or whatever.
Yeah. It sounds like the lo-fi version of printing, like if there was like a lo-fi. And I mean, I'm just saying that in comparison to, because we had a dean on campus that was really into 3D printing with resin.
Yeah. And
I had the opportunity to go over to his office and see the models he was making, and it was like legitimate like toy, like action figure out of a box from a toy store.
Yeah, they look you can't see the layer lines really. I mean, you can, but they're so much smaller. Well, and PLA though, that's more the like type of 3D printer, the FDM versus resin. But PLA is just it doesn't have a whole lot of like special qualities. It melts at a normal-ish temperature.
Normal-ish.
Yeah, I mean, it's hot. It has to be hot, but it's not crazy, and it doesn't hold up super great under the sun after a while. And things. But it doesn't create any fumes. It's great. And it is compostable. Not in your home compost, but if you have any access to a composting facility, a commercial one, then it can break down. It's also recyclable. Also a difficult process, but that's kind of exciting to me. The thought of maybe we can figure out how to recycle PLA better. That would be really useful for a lot of people.
Because isn't there you kind of lose the integrity of plastic after so many uses, right?
Maybe,
the structure's
yeah.
not quite there anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. The problem with 3D with printer filament is like if it's the supports for whatever you printed, you have to break it all down into the same size particles in order to melt it consistently, in order to extrude it into new filament again.
Fascinating.
And then also there's the issue of if you've got lots of colors, you're going to end up with brownish gray. And
so you have to be fine with a brownish gray,
which is most of the time fine because you can paint it really easy. But that is a slight drawback. But that's exciting to me. And then the other thing that's been exciting to me is I've been learning more about the modeling and slicing stuff, how to set your prints up. And I've found there's you can print with what's called tree, or I think organic supports. And so instead of just building walls of plastic to support overhanging areas, it creates a tree with branches.
Yeah, it looks like a mangrove forest.
It does, and it's a really exciting to me that the filament or the supports look like a thing, and trees are such a great thing for it to look like. So I've been collecting those every time I print something, and just keeping them in a little box. And then kind of like what you were saying with that film stuff, hopefully I'm going to have an opportunity to I just have this vision of someday I'm going to build a little forest of tree supports.
That's cool.
And I don't know. I think it feels fun, and it's just nice to not. It's way easier to clean up the 3D prints with the tree supports. So they're just awesome. It's one of those things that this feels good all the way around when I'm printing in PLA. And the model comes out good, and the supports look awesome, and
I would love to see. I don't know if this is a project that we take on, but I would love to see a live action cam of, how they'll have raptor birds, and then there's there's a camera on their nest, and then you can just watch it whenever. I want to see that, but with something printed in PLA that's in a compost pile.
Oh yeah, I think I could find a GIF for you.
Yeah,
I think I've seen it.
Because I think that would just be a fascinating thing to watch, the process of it breaking down and becoming, nothing.
I think what I've read is it takes about, in a commercial compost situation, they can process it to nothing or to dirt in about a month.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That probably takes the immense heat of a large.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, you can't. If you bury it in your yard, it's going to be there 100 years later, probably. But so it's not perfect, but it makes me feel a little better.
I wonder if they could start using that to make things like disposable water bottles or, chip bags or something.
Ooh, that's yogurt containers. That's the one that drives me nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like yogurt containers, though, I'm really stoked for people like makers because we can just I need somewhere to put my resin, or I need somewhere to put my paint
Except
brushes.
for they're opaque. I think that's the thing that I do use them for a lot of stuff, but I don't like that I can't see inside.
Yeah. You got to go with the gelato containers.
Oh.
Yeah, like Talenti or something like that.
Yeah,
I probably said that
yeah.
with super wrong, but
That's how I would pronounce it. I know what you mean when you're talking about that. Yeah. Well, that's clever. That's a good idea. I wonder if We might have people showing up for our educator meeting.
Okay.
You got 15 minutes.
So we should get through the rest of our...
Yes, let's get through the rest. Okay, so what's your
my piece of equipment?
Yes.
Ooh, I think, honestly, an X-Acto knife. I feel like there's nothing that can't be fixed in my creative circle without an X-Acto knife.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. As long as the blade's sharp, right?
Yeah, fresh blade.
Man, a fresh blade does... Yeah, that's something that, like, a good X-Acto knife and a fresh blade feels really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you have, like, a good straight edge, like, you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Especially for your, like, card making and stuff later this evening. Yeah.
Yeah, that or just, cropping stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, cutting out an imperfection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a technique people used to use in comics. They would, like, after they had inked something, if they had, instead of, like, whiteout, they would just scratch with an X-Acto blade to clean up, like, small errors.
Oh, because it, like, kind of flicks off the dried ink.
The paper, yeah. And then you got the white paper on underneath. And then I actually don't know how they duplicated things exactly in that time. But, yeah.
I think there's, like, lots of transparency layers, at least, like, in animation. Like, there was, like, layers upon layers of vellum. And so you could, like, trace your outline, then you, like, probably, like, paint or ink the back of it and, like, lay it down, and another layer, then another layer, another layer, and yeah. This was I knew it, and particularly in the case of, like, newspaper comics, that's what they would. You can see, like, scratch lines in originals and stuff where they, like, just took an X-Acto blade and, like, cleaned off a section. I didn't even think about, like, newspaper comics, like, that kind of medium.
Yeah.
But, like, that'd be fascinating. I would think there'd got to be something similar with, like old Disney stuff or something, like, real early.
Yeah. My tool is going to be the button maker, the American Button Machine's button maker. In particular, there's lots of button makers, but there's I've used several, and it just feels, the other ones that I've used feel flimsy and not, I don't know, but using theirs, everything just moves. It's like, it's greased nicely and it spins nice and chunks nice and, like, makes a really satisfying, like metal on metal, like, smack noise when the turntable hits the post.
We've used those things so many times, and like, such a great experience.
Yeah. And it's a simple machine that just feels awesome to use. I have another, I had another pick, but I'm assuming that Austin will probably take it. So,
okay.
We're going to leave that Austin stuff mysterious, and you can find it out in our zine.
Yes. And he's a brilliant guy, so you probably want to definitely download that.
Yeah.
Link in description.
Yep. Do you have a song?
Yeah,
okay.
I do. My ultimate song of the year is a song new to this year, and it's Sleater Kinney's "Say It Like You Mean It." Oh yeah, and also if you're interested in learning about how to use the button makers or, like, wanting to borrow them from us, you could also see a video of Forrest explaining how to use them step by step on our YouTube channel at Mid Valley STEM.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I also just bought tickets this weekend to see them in
so
April, so super stoked. I feel like their voices just keep getting better with time.
Yes. Mine is, my band for the year is the Beths. I listened to them so much. I discovered them in, like, January and just listened to them over and over and over. It's hard for me to pick a song, but I'm going to go with Knees Deep. Nope. I'm going to go with Expert in a Dying Field.
Great choice, bro.
Thank you. All right. This is fun.
Yeah, this was fun. I missed Austin, though.
Yep. Next time.
Well, thanks for joining us this far, and hopefully you enjoy our first episode of 2024. And cheers to many more.
Cheers. This has been a production of the Mid-Valley STEM-CTE Hub. Find us on the web at www.midvalleystem.org/mill.